Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
What up?
Just about ready to work out downstairs.
Why don't you go to the gym with me?
I don't have a vehicle to drive.
Take your STI, take the BMW, take the Supra.
My STI is not home.
Where is it?
At your shop?
It's in the garage. I need to go to Seattle.
For a car?
For a frickin' differential so I can work on my damn car. You wanna go? Out of all the cars that we have, Bobby chose this over everything else for the road trip. You believe that? As long as the parts fit, I'll be good to go.
All right, we've been stuck in traffic for about an hour now, but we're almost to the rear diff section.
So we drove about 4.5 hours just one way for a Wago van rear diff, Wago van viscous, and then I think it's a CRV driveline he has. I highly doubt we're gonna use the driveline, but we definitely needed the viscous and rear diff, and I didn't feel like waiting around for this guy to ship, so the build is out of a standstill until we can just get these parts.
Am I going to Puyallup?
So yeah, we're about to pick up the parts in the Bimmer. I had a nice nap on the way here as Bobby ripped around.
Puyallup.
Also, the fact that this Wago van viscous and rear diff cost $3,000 is absurd. I think back in the day they were a couple $100, and then everyone realized how good they were. The whole Wago van should be $3,000, let's be honest. She's definitely gonna need a little bit of restoration services, but we got the goods. We have one more stop to make today, and then we can head back to the shop. Surprisingly enough, this part wasn't even that expensive. Brand new from the dealer, and I'm excited for it. I wonder if they got a new FL5 in. Really want to see one in person. And we walk into a shop full of parts. Very exciting. I know exactly what that is, and we desperately need this product. I really want to get cracking on the back of the car, but I feel like it's the right thing to finish up the front first because, of course, you guys just saw we picked up the subframe from Honda, and now this big ass box right here is the other part that we need to finish up the front. Yep. A new used electric power steering rack. That's broken. Fucking sick. Super cool. Wow. That ain't gonna work. We ain't gonna have power steering with that. While we wait, let's see what else we got in the mail. An AC compressor. Yes, I do want to run AC on the car. We'll see how that goes.
Steve Rolden, can I get your name and state you're calling from?
Yeah, Devin Niemela, Washington State. So I received the power steering rack and the wiring connector. The main connector is snapped off of it.
Wait, I'm sorry?
I received the steering rack and the wiring connector is broken off of it. It looks like it probably happened in shipping.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and send you an email for you to submit the pictures of the part received.
All right, well, we're probably gonna have to wait for another rack to come in. Unless I can use, I highly doubt this motor's fine. Yeah, she's pretty haggard as well. That ain't gonna work, but we got a ton of other parts in, which is exciting. All right, so we got a junk rack in the mail, some mounts for the Wago van viscous, AC compressor. Top is a mess. I really need to get it cleaned up. Pretty much all this stuff right here I'm not gonna use. This is all out of the back of the CRV, and none of it really works for what we're doing. The one thing I am curious though is if possibly the CRV rear axles go into the wagon rear diff. Let's give it a shot. Here is our overpriced rear diff. I'm still mind blown on the freaking price of these things. Ain't no way. Yep, that ain't gonna work. So let's go ahead and finalize everything up front before we move on to the rear. I think that's gonna be the smartest and best thing to do. So currently in the car, we have the Type R subframe with all the Type R suspension, and we need to go ahead and swap out the Type R subframe for the CRV subframe, and we can also just mock it up with this rack. I think this motor actually might be usable. I know the connector's broken, but it looks like it's still all, like wiring wise, it's still all attached. So I'm gonna pull this motor off, this bad rack that we have, put the motor on the good rack, and we should should be good to go from there. I don't want things to get messy in here. I know it already is, but it can get extra messy if we start trying to fit up the diff into the back of the car, because we're gonna have to do a lot of cutting and welding and modification and fab work in the back to get obviously a diff to fit back there. Okay, motor's out. I need to go ahead, disassemble the control arm stuff, get the knuckles out of here, and then we can do some swappy swap. CRV subframe does need to be modified a tiny bit for the Type R. I'll just show you when we get there. Type R compliance bushing thing in the back. Everything is disassembled on the car. Let's see about swapping out these motors. Ooh, that looks fancy. Huh. I'm gonna try to do this more logically. Okay, I'm gonna set both of these in the same position. Not sure if this matters. It could not matter at all, but it makes sense in my mind. Bottom that side out. Okay. Junk motor off. Not so junk, but still junk motor going on. Well, hopefully we did that right. Guess we'll know when we go to drive it. A little bit janky, but it'll work for now until we can get a new one in the mail. She fits. Imagine that. Okay, this is the true test to see if a non-bent, a brand new OEM CRV subframe actually bolts right into the Type R. I hope it does, because if it doesn't, we got a lot more work cut out. I know 2 holes line up, but we got 4 more. Please bolt up. Plug and play, baby, let's go. Also, we may have to modify that guy a little bit more. All right, we're gonna have to grab a hammer. We need to clearance out the firewall a little bit. I knew the motor was gonna hit right there, but I didn't want to clearance it out before because we had a bent subframe, so our measurements were a little whack. So yeah, it should be easy. See how that goes. Oh yeah, that's better. Yikes. It was not... she might take some more mods than we thought. Damn. That's some permanent mods too, if you ask me. Let's see if we can get all the bolts in. Bolt number 2 will go in. Yeah. The rack hits a lot of stuff. Nice. That might be an issue. I guess we'll see. If we have to clearance out right here and reinforce it, it's what we got to do. The fronts do not line up. Everything else lines up. The fronts don't line up. But that's a pretty easy thing to fix. You just pop a pop a new hole in the subframe right here, and then I would slice off the front of it. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about other stuff, like us not having steering because our tie rod's hit. We have the subframe and rack in the car. Of course, right up in here, we had to do quite a bit more modifications. So that is gonna take quite a bit of like sheet metal work and whatnot up there, because if we have a hole that big, that ain't gonna be good for my toesies as I'm cruising down the street. That is a pretty easy solution, in my opinion. We got a much, much bigger problem, and that is this. We pretty much need to come out and lop a hole or a big old angle like that in the core structure of our Type R. I'm not very confident in my abilities, if I'm being completely honest, so it's a little worrisome. Would that be fine to do if I reinforce it, or should I not do that?
Of course, I mean, you can cut out around how much you need, or...
Now what if it'll focus, come on. What if instead of notching out our frame, we built something like that? I was about to start cutting, everything is marked, and then I had the random thought of what if we do some sort of offset, I guess you'd call it, offset tie rod. I don't really know, it apparently is a thing. We just have to grab some steel, or maybe even just bend up the rods that are on here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the boot off and see what we can figure out, because I would much, much rather feel like doing a custom tie rod versus a custom notched out frame. I talked to a few people about my idea. They all said I'm dumb. They said notching the frame is 1,000 times safer than trying to bend and weld and fabricate a tie rod, because obviously if the tie rod breaks when you're hauling ass, you're kind of screwed. So this is what we ended up with. We're gonna come up 45 degree, come up 45 degree, all the way out, and Austin's gonna bend up some super thick steel for me, and I'll go ahead and weld that on. Kind of the same concept as notching out a frame for like a bag truck or something like that, I guess is what we're after. So obviously I don't like doing this, but we are balls deep in this car. There ain't no turning around now, so I think this is the best option that we got. Just notch out the frame, reinforce the hell out of it, we should be good to go. This is the point of no return. Feel free to roast me in the comment section below. If you have any advice on how to make this better, drop a comment below. But like I said, we're balls deep and there's no turning back now. So whatever it takes to get this car back together. From the amount of people I've talked to and discussed this idea with, notching the frame, everyone says you're gonna be fine, quit tripping. So if you feel otherwise, comment below, and we'll just burn the car. Rack is up in the car, and here's what we have. We just need to box that all in, but as you can see, now we have all of the clearance in the world. I think that's gonna be completely fine. Seeing how freaking thin the stock material is crazy. Look how thin this is. So I have no second guesses, second thoughts now that what we're gonna do is most likely gonna be stronger than what was factory. Should be good to go. Let's go ahead and lop out the other side. And then whenever we go back up to Austin's, we can get some plates bent up and cut and weld those guys in.
And the darn tootin', why is it so smoky in here?
I had to cut my frame apart. Is that not safe?
It doesn't look safe.
Why?
What's going on?
So we can confirm later that this is enough space when we put the control arms on, but what do you think, Bobby? Is that enough space?
With my professional opinion involved here, I would say it's more than enough space.